Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Kyimya'yaih Fashion. Hi everyone, my name is Kim and you're welcome to Kyimya'yaih Fashion. Today's episode, I'm going to be showing you basically how to draft the pattern for a twist top. Now, I made this top for a client. She just gave me the privilege, or she gave me the go ahead basically to just make an easy chiffon top for her that she can wear to work. And I really have been obsessing about this pattern for a while, and I figured, okay, I'm going to try it and then I'm going to make one for her. So I've actually made two for myself and then one for my client because I really do like the easiness of the top and how free it is. So I'm going to show you how to draft the pattern. My sewing tutorials, basically it's just like a flash run through of just the sewing process. So let me know if you want me to be more hands-on on the sewing part. I don't know if you want to see exactly what I do when I'm sewing. But for me, I feel most of the time it's just the pattern that most people want to see, even though yes, there are some tricks, tips and tricks that you can learn from my sewing process. So maybe I'll just try and just do like a video that has a lot of the sewing. I think I'll try that. Anyway, so thank you. Let's get into it. So these are my materials that I'm going to be using for this pattern. I'm going to be using my scissors, my fabric scissors and my paper scissors. I have my fabric. I have 2 yards of this chiffon. I have my semi pattern master, my ruler, my eraser, pencil, pins, masking tape, and of course the block for my client. And then I also have my paper, my A1 paper that I use for pattern drafting. So first things first, I'm going to start by folding my paper into 2. This is because I'm going to be cutting my pattern on a fold, as my top is basically going to be an asymmetric top. So I'm going to start by tracing out my block. I'll trace out my block and then I'll transfer my bust dart to my waistline. Let me know if you want me to have like a video on dart manipulation. I don't know if something you're interested in. Just let me know in the comment section if you're interested in me having a video on just manipulating darts, which is not going to be something really long, to be honest, but let me just know. So I'm using this pin to just hold my bust point in place while I pivot my bust dart to my waistline. So you can just see how I did it here. So I'm just pivoting, I'm just closing that spot and then just closing the dart, and then I'll just basically transfer it to my waistline. I'll then trace out my darts. I'm doing this so that you can just see what the dart looks like after I have manipulated it to the waistline. So here I'm just marking the length of my top is about 24, I think. Yes. So that's the length of my top. I'm then going to square line using my semi pattern master, and I'm just going to extend the side seam line. I'm just going to be following that A line that I already have going, and then I'll just follow that. I've cancelled out my darts, and next thing I'm going to do is just cut out the pattern straight up. So I've cut out my pattern, and you can see that I have the entire front piece out on my paper. So what I'm going to do next is just to open up my neckline by about 1 inch, and I'm just going to draw a line that is going to connect my neckline and the end of my side seam like this. And then I'm just going to cut out that part. I'm just drawing a grain line so that I can have that on my pattern. I feel like if I don't draw a green line, something is missing, so I always draw my green lines. And then I'm just going to cut out that the other side of the pattern. Sorry. So I'm putting this new paper so that I can just cut out the 2 pieces, because I'm going to be using 2 pieces to create the pattern. 2 pieces of my front to create the pattern. Is a twist up, so it's like the front is folded over itself. I don't know how to explain it except when you see it. So yeah, this is pretty much what I'm doing. I'm just cutting out the pattern. So I have 2 pattern pieces, 2 pieces for my front. I'm going to be aligning them, or should I say, placing them diagonally. I don't know if that's the right sentence, to be honest. I actually went online, but anyway, I'm digressing. So I'm going to be placing them diagonally, I hope, and just put my masking tape to hold them together, because this is going to be one piece. So this pattern as it is 1 piece for the front. So this I'm going to cut out. I'm just extending my grain line, and then I'm going to, exactly as this is, that's how I'm going to be cutting out the front of my pattern. For my back, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to be tracing out the back of my block, and I'm going to be doing that by placing my pattern to slant by about 2 inches from the center back, sorry. So I'm just going to trace that, and then I'll trace my block out, and I'll just extend it to my desired length, and then I'll cut it out. I'm really just tracing out the entire block so that you can see exactly what I'm working around. I'm marking my length here, and I'm just going to use my semi pattern master and just square that to the side seam. For my back, I'm just going to go ahead and add all my sewing allowances. So 1 inch by the side, and then 1/2 inches from my armhole, shoulder, slope, and of course the neckline and the hemline. Just to create a slight curve at my hemline, I'm just going to be taking it up from the side seam by 0.5 inch, and then I'll just curve that into my hem, and then I'll just add my sewing allowance, and that's it. So I have my grain line done. I'm just marking that my pattern is going to be cut on a fold, and that's pretty much it. So I have all my patterns here. For my sleeve, I'm going to be dropping another video, so you can just go through that and then see how I drafted my basic sleeve. So I'm going to start off by cutting the front of my pattern. So make sure that the chiffon that you're using, if it's a printed one, that it has like front and back that look basically the same, because this is a twist up, so it's going to be that you're going to flip one side. You're going to have to flip one of the sides anyway to join. You're basically twisting it up. So if there's one side that looks like it's the inner part of the fabric, it's going to be obvious and it's going to show. So make sure that the fabric you're using is one that doesn't have like obvious front or back. So I'm just pinning my pattern into place, and then with pins, and then I'll cut it out, adding my seam allowances everywhere, because I didn't do that with the pattern, so I have to do it on my fabric. So here we have it, all my patterns cut, my front, my back, my sleeves, and I'm snipping on my sleeve to indicate which side is my front. I have my bias strips, and I'm ready to work. Now for the sewing part, so I'm just placing my front pattern the way that it's supposed to be, and then I will be joining my shoulders. I really don't know what I'm doing here, but basically yes, I'm just going to be joining my shoulders right side facing right side. I'm just going to pin them, then I'll take them to my sewing machine and sew. So I have my shoulders done using French seam. Next I'm going to be biasing my necklines using my bias shaped cuffs from the fabric. So I have my neckline done. Now for my sleeve, I have a side that is the front and a side that is the back. So I've cut out my sleeve, and then the side that is the front, I just did 2 snips, as you can see. This is so that I make sure that the front is attached. The front of my sleeve is attached to the front of my top. So I'm laying out my top this way. I'm going to be attaching the end of my sleeve to the end of my top. My top and the center part of my sleeve, which I have already notched, to my shoulder seam, and then the other end of my sleeve to my top. I'll then take it to my sewing machine and stitch. So I've attached my sleeve to my top. I'm using the flat fell seam. This is so that I have little seam showing in this top. I also have my sleeve hem done. I'm just going to be attaching the sides of my top. So I'm going to be attaching from my sleeve all the way down to the hem of my top. I am going to also be hemming the back of my top in the process. And just like that, my top is done. And this is what the top looks like. I'm definitely going to have to tack a point on the neckline so that we don't have so much opening, but my top is done. Thank you for watching. Bye.